Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy. So we're going to make a front front door sign using this simple no solicitation design. So what I'm doing here is I am marking the background in XCS for a circle, and I'm going to use a 12-inch wood round. And then what we're going to do after we cut that to size is we're going to score the design on the wood round, and then we're going to cut the design. And the reason why we're scoring it is so we can place it where it goes, just making things a little easier. So as you can see, we're setting the background by selecting 3 points for the circle, we end marking, and that's basically just telling XCS this is our space. So now we're just going to move that design into the circle, make sure it fits, and then we'll set it to score. For the settings for score, I like to do them kind of deep because sometimes I will like spray paint or paint the board, and I still want to be able to find the lines. So what I'm doing here is within my circle is I'm taking a circle shape and I'm holding down the shift key and I'm expanding it until it gets to be about the size of our background here. The holding down the shift key in XDS keeps it from being uneven, so it keeps the circle straight. So, and then we're going to add 2 little holes so that we can add the twine to hang the sign. If you like to do ribbons, you could add little slats instead. I wanted to keep it relatively simple. And so yeah, now I've made my circle a little bit too big. So now we're just going to, again, click the object, hold the shift key, and we can either drag it or we can use the arrow keys. I'm using 1/4-inch MDF to cut my wood round. And the settings that work great for me, I have an S1 20 watt. So the settings that work great for me are 100 power, 3 speed, and 2 passes. And then I lower the focus by 3 millimeters. Works great. I'm going to add 2 little circles from a previous project rather than creating brand new ones. And we'll use those for the hanging. I think I actually cut this on 4 instead of 3 by accident. It still worked. But yeah. Now, what you see me doing is going to an old project and grabbing my circles from a previous, just because I'm lazy. I'm not really lazy, but I didn't want to have to reinvent the wheel, so I just grouped those circles from my previous sign, brought them to the sign, and now we'll use it on this sign. So after we score it, I actually am using the 3M tape on my design for this, which worked great. And I actually used 1/4-inch MDF for my letters. And no, maybe I didn't. I don't think I used. I think I may have used 1/8-inch MDF for my letters, but for the backer, I definitely used 1/4-inch. And it turned out great. Now I did end up spray painting my sign instead of hand painting it. Okay, so this is the scoring part. So we've got the design on there. We've already cut our board, and we're going to score at 60 power, 20 speed. It's pretty deep scoring, but that's kind of the intention. So that's pretty basic. And then once we do this, we'll move to cutting it. We're going to cut it with the 3M double-sided tape backer. And once we cut it and get everything prepped, we'll put it together. It should be pretty simple. Okay, so I wanted this to be deep and dark enough where if I spray paint it, I can see it faintly enough to kind of use it as a stencil. So now what we're going to do, instead of using 1/4-inch MDF, I'm sorry, 1/8-inch MDF, I'm going to use 1/4-inch because I have a scrap left. So I put 3M on the back, and it didn't do the greatest job, but hoping that it will stick with 3M, it should. So now we're going to switch this guy out. Then we will reset our background for the board instead of the round. And I'm going to cut it as close to the edge as possible, which means I'm probably going to have to turn this around and turn it sideways because of how wide this is. So I'm going to turn it sideways and give it a shot and try right here, or even right here I think will work. Okay, we'll give it a shot. Okay, so we're going to take this off
We're not processing this anymore. So we'll move this guy to the side. Now we're going to actually cut. And we are going to need to measure distance. Should be the same, but just in case, it might be a little bit different because of the tape. All right, now let's mark the square. I'm not worried about the circle around it right now. It might be confusing to look at, but what's happening? I guess it might make it visually easier to see if I move this out of the way, right? Okay, start marking. Okay, bear with me. Now I need to turn this sideways because I'm going to try to do it within this. So, and I'm going to try to go all the way down here. Just realized that I think my overhang here, let's see, try to move it back a little. Hopefully I don't compromise anything without having to remark it again, but I'm always trying to use as much of it as possible. So now you can see we've got our settings for MDF. We're going to go ahead and go to process. I'm going to frame it. I forgot to put this. This is just telling it we want to process it versus ignore it. And now we're going to go back out. It's not really outside the processing area. Don't be so picky. Okay. Now that should be the only thing, as long as I've selected everything correctly, this should be the only thing. Now this is going to take 39 minutes because of the detail. And the beauty of this is this will work while I work. Okay, so I ended up spray painting this with Rustoleum Seaside and Satin because this one place where I filled the hole where I really should have used the opposite side, the paint was, you were able to see through the paint. Anyway, I just decided to take the easier way out. Plus it's a really cool aqua color. But you can see because I got my score lines deeper, you can still see more or less where we need to go. So I'm going to take off the 3M backer and stick it on here. It's obviously boring, so I'm going to speed it up. Once I get all of our letters, I'll put a clear coat of satin spray. I coated the letters in Kona, which is like a brown, a reddish brown from Rustoleum. Should be a nice contrast. This would also look really nice with a lighter teal, which I don't have out here right now. But anyway, so I'll speed this part up. I just wanted to explain myself.
Okay, so I sped this way up because how entertaining can it be? But basically I'm just pulling that 3M backer off and finding my score lines and placing it. Now, I realize this is a fairly simple design, so it was probably a little easier on this. But even with 1/4 inch MDF, being a little chunkier, it worked really, really well. And I will list the website that I bought the 3M double-sided tape roll from because it was really reasonably priced. And, you know, if you're going to do a lot of these, like, it just kind of makes sense to buy a roll of it. So anyway, I did, and I'll show you up close in a minute, I lost 2 of my eye dots and an apostrophe. Or maybe it was 3 eye dots. Anyway, but I found them and I painted them and they're in the final result that you'll see. But yeah, this was a fun one to do. So thanks for hanging with me. Check out the close-up.
Okay, so I love it, and that was so much easier than glue. However, I'm missing 2 of my eye dots, but not to fear. I saved what I pulled out of the laser, so I can probably locate it, spray it, and add it for the final. So just know, I'll show you a final picture. But yeah, much easier, and much easier to quickly reposition if you had to. So I'll show you the final result. Okay, so here it is. I found the dots. I sealed it with a satin clear finish, and it's up on our Etsy shop. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching and being part of the journey. Bye.